You're listening to the main event with Zach Gelb and Mike Zahn on WHIP.
Back here at WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. Time in the WHIP studios is 11:40. Now joining us is an NFL prospect. You know him as a senior leader last year for your Temple Owls as they made it all the way to the bowl game and also beat Penn State. And yesterday, this video has been going viral. You've seen it everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, all that great stuff. He benched 225 pounds 41 times, and we always knew he could do it, and that is Kyle Friend, who joins us right now. Kyle, it's Mike and Zach. You know us. Thanks for a few minutes, and how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
How sore are you today?
I'm really sore. It's not even my chest, it's my legs, so it was tough to get out of bed this morning.
Every coach always says Kyle Friend is the ultimate worker. He's the first one in the facility, the last one out. And we always knew you could bench press a lot. I think you put up 46 a year ago. I was reading some Fox article about that. But how do you explain 225 41 times? Because the combine, the most to do it was 34 reps. So how do you explain that?
I don't know, man. Benching is just something that's always came pretty easy to me. I mean, my whole career at Temple, we train hard. We train for that. For the 225 test, and when I went down to Atlanta to train for Pro Day, we also trained for that as well. So it's just something that's always came natural to me, I think. And also just with working at it at Temple, my 4 years, I think that's how I got to get pretty good at it,
I say this in the nicest way, but you are an athletic freak. A guy putting up 41 times of 225 is just ridiculous. And we said you also did 46. Did the number ever get any higher than 46?
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because it wouldn't surprise me if you came in and were like, yeah, I bench pressed 50 times and, it's no big deal.
That's probably the best it'll ever be. I don't have to do it no more, so.
Now, I'll ask you this. I saw that video yesterday, and people are, yelling at you, come on, Kyle, let's go to work. Is that at all distracting? Because if I was bench pressing and you have 225 41 times as it is, that's hard enough. Is that a distraction when people go, come on, Kyle, let's put some work together?
No, I think it helps out, especially being at Temple with all my teammates around, my old coaches. It's just an environment I'm comfortable with. So it actually, I think, helps out having all those guys around.
And really, you want NFL teams to know you more than just a guy that could bench press a ridiculous amount of weight. If you had to explain yourself to an NFL team, who you are and what you're about, how would you explain that?
Well, I think if I'm going to try to sell myself to a team, I think my tape is pretty self-explanatory. They can make their own evaluation as far as my tape, but and what kind of player I am. But I think I would tell them that I'm all about, making the four other offensive linemen around me better. And if I was going to sell myself, I would tell them that I'm all about helping the guys around me, making sure we're always on the same page. So I think I would tell them that I'm all about helping out the guys around me, because I think you can be as good as you want to be, but if you don't have good guys around you, then it doesn't really go as far.
We're talking to former Temple center in Kyle Friend, and as we mentioned, did the bench rep of 225 41 times. Very impressive. You worked very diligently with Coach Wiesahan. Has he given you any advice for this transitional period from now that you're done with college and waiting to go into the NFL?
Absolutely. Coach Wies I talk to him at least on a weekly basis. He knows a lot. I talk to him all the time about any kind of question I have. So, yeah, I'm in touch with Coach Wies. He's helped me out tremendously.
And I know that you always are doing the film studies, as Zach had mentioned, and, to make it to that next level, some people have to transition from one spot to another. Do you think by chance you would have to go from center to guard because you do whatever it takes to make it to that next level?
Yeah, well, in the NFL, I think if you're a center, you're also a guard and vice versa. So I think you got to be able to play both positions. So, yeah, I played guard recently here in an all-star game, and I played it my freshman year, so I have some experience at it.
We're talking to Kyle Friend, who joins us in studio now. So like I mentioned, you had 3 Temple players go to the Combine. You weren't one of them, and the most bench reps at the Combine was 34. You put up 41. Does that at all annoy you that, especially with the career that you had here at Temple, that you didn't get an invite to the Combine?
Yeah, I was a little upset at first. But just like I told everybody yesterday, I'm not going to sit around and dwell on it. I think I had to get over it pretty quickly and just I tried to make the best out of yesterday at Pro Day, and I think that's really the only thing I could do is just try to have a good day yesterday, and not really worry about it, because at the end of the day, it's really the same thing. I get to do the same thing at Pro Day that I get to do at the Combine. So, I was upset at first, but it is what it is.
If this Temple team goes on to have a long run where they go out there and put 8-10 years of good football out there, everyone is going to look back at this group of players that you guys just had graduating, because you guys have been through the ups and downs of Temple football, multiple coaches, and then this year it really culminated with a win up against Penn State, national attention with College Game Day and Notre Dame coming into town, playing for a conference championship game, and then finally that bowl game. Just how do you remember this senior group and what makes them so special? Because you have a lot of darn good football players in that group.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, especially the guys that were competing yesterday in Pro Day, I mean, when you look at all those guys, they're guys that have been around and they stuck with the program for 4 years, just like you said. They've been through a lot. I remember times walking around on campus and, it was kind of a bad thing to be a football player. We were kind of looked at in a different way. And just to see the culture around here change, and, that's just a direct reflection of, the seniors in the program and all those older guys, Ty, Matt, Tavon, myself, just all the older guys in the program. I think it's just a direct reflection of them. It's just great to see how the culture around Temple has changed within, the past 2-3 years.
And you talk about that culture. You obviously remember 2 years ago, your sophomore year. It was a 2-10 season. It was a little bit of a rebuilding year, as it was Matt Rule's first year at the helm for the Temple Owls. Not to put this in a bad way, but there really wasn't a huge fan base, a huge following. I know you probably remember being at Lincoln Financial Field and the lower bowl's not even filled. Right. Was that somewhat of a goal, too, to say, you know what, we as a collective unit, when you guys were sophomores, that 2-10 season, did you guys say to yourself, by our senior season, we need to put this team on the map?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not like we were, trying to set a goal. I mean, we were trying to get it on the map from the start. But, like you said, it's, coming out there certain days and seeing that, not even the lower half was filled up. It's just kind of an eye opener, looking at our senior year now, and you see the whole links filled up. So yeah, it was definitely good to see. Like I said, good to see the culture around here change.
So now you guys, as senior class, are leaving, and some of the seniors to be were here during that 2-10 season, as it was their freshman season. Do you think that they're going to be the ones to now say, hey, we also have been through the ringer? Not as many of those players were playing in that 2-10 season, but do you think that they can still continue this momentum forward?
Absolutely. Well, I think if you look at the leaders on the team now, I mean, some of those guys are redshirt seniors that have been through the 2-10, Coach Adazio, that whole thing, and I think those guys don't have a short-term memory. The leaders on the team now, Stefan, Avery Williams, all those guys. I mean, they definitely don't want something like that to happen again, 2-10. And I think after seeing last year and seeing how it's done, they'll have no problem with doing it again.
And you know how the Temple team really just captivated this city. The Eagles were not good this year, and everyone in Philadelphia was looking for a winner, and Temple football was that winner. The crowds for not only the Penn State and Notre Dame games were unbelievable, but even Memphis and UConn did a nice number. And now you have a team that really embodied the city's mentality of being blue-collar, being guys that just show up to work, and you always hear it in your practices, people saying, do their job. And you also had a lot of people that, when you guys were getting recruited, didn't get the most scholarship looks. Look at Tyler Medikevich's story, Defensive Player of the Year, and UConn didn't even go out there and give him an offer. So how much does just having that extra, chip on your shoulder really just motivate not only you, but this entire program to succeed and prove all the doubters wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Temple's full of a bunch of guys that kind of been unrecruited. a bunch of guys that, like you said, have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of guys think they should have went to bigger places, but they ended up at Temple. And, just like you said with Ty, I mean, you look at somebody like that, that guy's just been, everything, you could possibly want in a football player. And, I think that says a lot about the coaching staff, them being able to develop guys like you. So, I mean, we just focused on, what we could do, what we could do as football players just to be the best that we can be. And, you mentioned do your job. We preach that every single day. So, yeah, I think that's a good credit to the coaching staff, being able to develop players, in 4 years. So.
And it was a complete 180 as someone that covered those seasons under Steve Adazio and then to Matt Rule. The transition from Adazio to Rule was just something different, and I think it really benefited this university because Matt Rule, to me, really understands Temple football. You mentioned that coaching staff. Let's look at the man that leads that coaching staff and Matt Rule. If you had to describe Matt Rule to someone, how would you describe him, and just what has he meant to you?
Coach Rule's great. I have nothing but great things to say about Coach Rule, and I mean, I think the results speak for itself. I mean, just look what he's done. College game day, we ranked all year. He's done nothing but do great things to this program. Not even for the program, but for the university, for the city. So if I were to describe him, he's just great. He's great. What he's done here is just absolutely amazing.
I know the Temple football team is close-knit, but the Temple Owls student body is close-knit as well. The Temple Owls basketball team has a big NCAA tournament game tomorrow. What advice, as a senior who's already graduated, what advice would you give to that senior class who are playing in their last couple games?
Yeah, enjoy it. Have fun. And, you never really know when it's going to be over. I mean, it's all the cliche answers, but it's real. And, I would tell them just go out there and compete, have fun.
I saw Temple do a dunk contest a few days ago, and I know Deion Dawkins last year slammed one home. Did you ever jump up and slam one down?
No.
Well, you benched 225 41 times. I figured you could at least get up and slam dunk it.
I don't know if I could slam dunk or not. I don't know.
That would be
I'd have to
scary.
see.
I wouldn't want to have to guard against you in the paint. That would be a tough charge to take, as Kyle Friend is here with us. So you talked about how you like to make everyone better around you. Looking ahead for the future of this football team, who are some of those offensive linemen that you think Temple fans are really going to love next year and say, hey, this guy's making some big plays?
Well, I think offensive line-wise, I think, the new leader of the group is going to be Brendan McGowan. He's been a guy who's got a lot of games under his belt already. I think he's going to do a good job with helping out that offensive line and, making sure that they're playing up to their caliber.
So now I'm obviously above 225 pounds. Mike, how much do you weigh?
160, 165.
So how many times do you think you could bench my co-host? 165, how many times?
I have no idea. Man.
When was the last
Probably
time you bench pressed 165?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Well,
10 years.
We're wrapping up with Kyle Friend before we let you go. I've seen you talk about this on Twitter, and it's been a big debate here on campus, has been about this on-campus stadium. You've been a proponent for it. Why is that, and what do you think the benefits are of an on-campus stadium?
Well, it's great. I mean, you look at what a stadium does, just for Temple, on a football player's behalf, You were talking about filling up the stadium. I mean, that's just going to be great for the students. They're going to be able to get there. I think it does a lot for the community. I mean, a lot of people say that it's tearing the community down, this, that, and the third. And, people always find a way to find something to nag about. And it's upsetting as a football player because, I think that's just an outstanding, move. I can't see why not having a stadium, you know what I mean? I just don't understand why some people are so against it. And I think it, creates jobs in the area. I think it does a lot for just Temple University. So I'm all for it. And I'm so glad that it's going to happen. I mean, it got passed, right?
Not officially. They to me they put $1 million towards expanding the research.
Right.
But like I've been saying for the last few years, I would be pleasantly surprised, I will say, if that stadium doesn't end up getting built one day here at Temple, especially with the leaders you have here like a Matt Rule and Neil Theobald, and then of course Patrick Kraft.
Absolutely, and those guys. Those three guys, along with everyone else that's helped out, that's helped kind of bring that up. Those guys they know what they're doing. They wouldn't just do something that's, going to be a short-term kind of deal. I mean, they know what they're doing, and, I really hope that it ends up working out, because that's just a great move, not only for the community, but like I said, for the university and for the people that go here. I'm all for it.
Well, Kyle, we appreciate you always being kind to us over the years, and soon we hope to see you in the NFL, and I'm sure knocking some guys, doing some pancake blocking and all that great stuff. So thanks for a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.